It all started when I was in prison. I was cutting hair on Ewing, because I've been in and out of prison all my life. And I met a lady called Chelsea who worked for St Giles Trust, and she suggested that I should take up barbering on release from prison, and if I needed any help, she'd support me on release. I've been going in and out of prison since I was 18-year-old, and I've spent about maybe 7 years in there.
As soon as Clyde came out of custody, he was really keen to look for employment and get started with things, but it seemed that everywhere that he was looking at going and what he wanted to do, he was sending out loads of application forms, but just nothing was coming from it.
I ended up finding a barber shop that would take me on, and he had a space there, but he didn't have enough money to actually make me go work for him. So I spoke to Chelsea and she provided me with funding to pay for my 3 months rent of a chair and buy me all my equipment. And I'm now there, the rent's been paid, I've received a grant, and life's looking really good for me. Been coming out of prison, I've never really had much support from within the prison system, and every time I've got out I've always found going back to crime an easy option, and the support from St Giles Trust, and it's really made me see that there's a brighter future and I can think positive. So I wake up and think positive every day now, and I can go to sleep at night knowing I've got a secure future ahead of me.
He's actually like a completely different person since he started work. I think he's a lot more confident in himself, he's got a lot more belief in himself. He's moved into his own property now, which before he was sort of living with his mum.
In the future I'd like to open my own barber shop and have people working for me, and hopefully train other people up, and so young guys in the community can see there's a better way forward in life than committing crime. And I'd like to contribute a little bit back to society, and hopefully one day they might find as much love in barbering as I have.
What we ask of them is to come up with a plan and to pitch it to us, to explain to the Access to the Future programme how that grant is going to make a difference to their lives. And that allows us to combine the personal support our caseworkers already give each client with some very real financial clout. Each case is assessed individually to work out exactly what that client needs, and in order to provide support around the grant.
Me personally, like, school wasn't always the easiest for me. I've never really been a person that's into maths and English and things like that. I'm more a hands-on person. I started working with St Giles because I was always with the people I should have been around, so it was better for me to start getting into some other activities, start doing stuff with my career. They were helping me with stuff like my college, started finding me apprenticeships, just making me look at other things in life rather than just the things that are in my area really.
You hit barriers, block walls, and you're not eligible for certain programs, certain courses, and a lot of our young people, once they reach a certain age, they have to start paying. And we're not talking about hundreds. Some of the programs and courses and equipment come into the thousands.
Now I've got my grant, I can start looking for work I want to do. Maybe do some agency work, do some labouring for myself.
It's motivated him, and you can even see it in his attitude, the spark in his eye when he comes in, the smile on his face. It's even encouraging for me to see him like this, and it makes me want to work the extra harder and go the extra mile for him, and push him towards his goals.
My hopes for the future is to work in the industry for maybe 4 or 5 years, gain as much knowledge as I can and experience, and then hopefully open my business, get my van, maybe get a couple more vans, get some people to work for me, be a successful businessman.
So ATF allows us to unlock doors, which is really good. And we've been able to push people forward. Again, it helps us to break that cycle of reoffending. It gives people a focus, it steers them away from crime.
Rich Richard wasn't comfortable to meet in the community or at office. Richard has Asperger's and is not confident around strangers.
Because on benefits, it's like sometimes which is handy to get you started, but you don't want to live your life constantly being on benefits. I mean, like when I received the grant, it felt like a really, really warm feeling at it. In fact, it was like starting off at the bottom of Mount Everest and then reaching the top. You really accomplished something after that, and it felt like, yes, I've got past this obstacle. There's nothing that can stop me now. That's what it felt like to me. It meant a whole shopping list of opportunities and training. I've joined agencies like Phoenix and Wyman. I've had work with things like Casualty and Publicum. If you think of my life, I think it's been one huge adventure it has, and meeting Gareth and hearing about St. Giles and hijinks and all these things, it was basically the next awesome chapter. It was. I mean, like, it meant doing the things I love doing, but also upgrading, and also I know, like, St. Giles is always a helping hand if you ever need it.
Without access to the future, many of the young people we've helped, including Richard, would not have had the opportunity to go on and further themselves. They simply wouldn't have been able to have secured the funding through any other means.
Because St. Giles, they always give a helping hand. It's sort of, they give you that feeling that nothing's impossible.